Hey there, and welcome friends. My name is Josh. I'm the founder of Technical Writer HQ. In this video, I'll cover what is taxonomy, why it's important, and how to test it with users. Let's go ahead and dive in. So what is taxonomy and information architecture? So taxonomy is how information is grouped, classified, and labeled within a shared information environment. The overarching structure of that shared information environment is the information architecture, and we find our way around it using the navigation. Think of information architecture as a house. The taxonomy determines which pieces of furniture belong in each room, and we navigate around the house through doorways and hallways. It all fits together to create one shared environment. For a website example, think of an online shoe store. The shoes might be organized and labeled by color, size, style, season, or collection. That's a taxonomy. The overall picture of where those groups of shoes live is the information architecture. In our pursuit of new shoes, we might navigate that structure via a navigation bar at the top of the page, or even clicking on one of those hamburger menus. Now let's go ahead and dive into a couple of examples of information architecture to give you a better idea here. So one of my favorite examples of taxonomy is Stripe's documentation database. Among technical writers and information architects, they hold this as one of the best examples online. And why is that? So we have this menu right here. We have payments, business operations, financial services. So let's go ahead and click on payments. And what you're going to notice is this left-hand sidebar open up, and we're seeing the taxonomy in action right now. It's saying under payments, we have all these different categories. We have online payments, we have products and pricing, we have invoicing. So what do you want to access, right? So let's say we want to access online payments. And with online payments, we're like, what do we want under online payments? Well, maybe we want to learn how do we accept an online payment? Well, they have that right there. And they set the taxonomy in a way where everything is very easy to find. And it even goes one step further by having the ability to adjust it on page. So as you can see right over here, I'm like, okay, I want to accept a payment, but I want to do it online and I want it to be through plugins. Okay, they have the option to change this documentation for plugins. And now I know how to do it for plugins, right? Very intuitive, very smart in the way that they're able to set this up and deliver the taxonomy effectively to people who are interested in understanding how to use a Stripe product better. So again, they have categories on the left-hand side, the ability to filter through these categories very effectively. And some of these even have multiple categories within the overarching category, but everything follows the customer journey effectively, enabling a customer and a user to find exactly what they're looking for without too much work. And that's what makes Stripe's documentation a great example of taxonomy. And there we have it. Let's go ahead and jump back. So how do you create a taxonomy? Well, there are so many different ways to carve information up into a taxonomy, and the key drivers for determining that are your current content and of course your users. Your taxonomy needs to make sense to your users. You may be starting from scratch with a new website, or you may have inherited a taxonomy that for whatever reason just isn't fit for purpose. And the first step when creating an initial taxonomy is to do a comprehensive audit of your content. And you should ask yourself, is your content relevant? Is it up to date? Is it at all necessary? And are there opportunities to delete or condense the content? And once you have your content sorted, you're ready to move on to the next step of running a card sort with your users. It's a simple process. Let's go ahead and break it down. Running a card sort early in your taxonomy creation process will allow you to build it up from an evidence-based foundation. And there's no point guessing, then testing, and potentially going back to square one when you can co-create with your users and then test that informed approach to validate and further evolve your thinking. Sometimes you can skip this process if you have access to in-depth analytics. For example, powerful SEO data tools like Ahrefs, which I'll go ahead and link in the description below the video, can often give you enough insights into how users group things together. And when you're designing your card sort, you'll need to decide if you're going to do an open, close, or hybrid sort. Here's a very high-level look at what each type involves. So you have open. A group of participants sorts cards into groups and names their own categories. And then you have closed. A group of participants sorts cards into categories determined by you. And then we have hybrid. A group of participants sort cards into categories determined by you, and they can also make up their own. This is the foundation of the taxonomy creation process, and it's best to start out with an open card sort. And the reason here is because not only will this tell you how your users expect your content to be grouped, but also provide insight into language and labels that they would expect that content to be associated with. And you never know, an open card sort may even surface something you hadn't considered before. At this stage of the process, it's important to be open to ideas and new possibilities, and an open card sort will do just that. And after you've run your initial open card sort with users, you should have everything you need in order to create the first iteration of your taxonomy. So consider everything you learned during the card sort and cross-reference that with your business goals and any tech constraints you might be facing. And don't stress too much about nailing it this time around. Remember, this is the first iteration, and as you test more and learn more, you can then go ahead and make changes. An easy way to do this is to build out your taxonomy in Post-it notes with a team and then put it into a spreadsheet to make future testing and iteration activities easier. So how do you test your taxonomy? So now that you have the first iteration of your taxonomy using a card sort, it's time to have a go at structuring those groups into information architecture and running what's called a tree test. Tree testing is an incredibly useful as a follow-up to card sorting because it enables you to evaluate a hierarchy according to how it performs in a real-world scenario, using tasks similar to a usability test, and you can conduct it well in advance of designing page layouts or navigation menus. And as a result, it allows you to do inexpensive exploration and refinement of the menu categories and labels before you really go ahead and start engineering and putting in a lot of design work. So to conduct a tree test, you don't need to sketch any wireframes or write any content. You only need to prepare two things. First, you have the tree or the hierarchical menu, and then you have the tasks or instructions which explain to the study participants what they should attempt to find. And in this example here, you'd ask a participant to find something, say museum and monuments. If they start going through the wrong branch per se, then you know that your taxonomy is off, and you might need to refresh how you group your menu elements. Another way to test your taxonomy thinking is to run another card sort. However, this time, a hybrid or a closed card sort might be more suitable. A closed card sort would be useful if you've got evidence to suggest that your group labels are making sense to users, but you're not 100% sure what belongs in each group. A hybrid card sort will let you go one step further and tell you if your content does in fact fit within those labels, and if not, you'll also pick up some new ideas to iterate your taxonomy further. And developing a taxonomy is like any other information design process. You bring in users into your taxonomy process as early as you can, and you never stop iterating and improving and learning. And there are taxonomies everywhere, and they're not all digital. From libraries to supermarkets, we are immersed in taxonomies. It's a role of technical writers and information architects to determine ultimately how these taxonomies are presented to us and how we navigate through them. And there you have it. We just covered the role of taxonomy and information architecture. If you feel like you learned something from this video, then make sure to go ahead and like it and subscribe to our channel so you can get more information on how to create great information architecture. And I'll go ahead and see you in some of our following videos. Cheers.